Genesis chapter 3 is a pivotal chapter in the Bible. It tells the story of Adam and Eve, the first humans, and their disobedience to God. This story explains why there is suffering and evil in the world. It also sets the stage for God's plan of salvation through Jesus Christ. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He made a beautiful garden called Eden. Adam and Eve lived in this garden. God gave them everything they needed to be happy. He gave them delicious food to eat from all the trees in the garden. He gave them each other for companionship. God told them not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Adam and Eve loved living in the Garden of Eden. They were grateful for God's blessings. They spent their days exploring the garden and talking with God. They were content and innocent, but their peace would not last forever. One day, a serpent came to Eve in the garden. This serpent was very cunning. He wanted to trick Eve into disobeying God. He asked Eve about the fruit on the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He made Eve doubt God's word. The serpent told Eve that God was keeping something good from her. He said that if she ate from the tree, she would be like God. Eve was tempted. She looked at the fruit. It looked delicious. She wanted to be wise like God. The serpent's words planted seeds of doubt in her heart. Eve looked at the fruit and then at the serpent. She thought about what he said. She began to doubt God's goodness. She thought maybe God didn't want the best for her. Maybe the serpent was right. Eve reached out and took the fruit. She took a bite. It tasted sweet. She felt different. She felt powerful. She took more bites and then gave some to Adam, who was with her. He also ate the fruit. As soon as they ate the fruit, Adam and Eve felt different. They felt ashamed. They realized they were naked. They tried to hide from God. They knew they had done something wrong. For the first time, Adam and Eve experienced fear. They were afraid of what God would do. They had disobeyed his direct command. They had broken their relationship with him. God came to the garden. He called out to Adam and Eve. He asked them why they were hiding. Adam and Eve were afraid. They told God they were naked. God asked them who told them they were naked. Adam blamed Eve. He said it was her fault. Eve blamed the serpent. She said he tricked her. Adam and Eve were no longer innocent. They had sinned. They had disobeyed God. God was angry and sorrowful. He had given Adam and Eve everything they needed. He had trusted them, but they had disobeyed him. He punished the serpent first. He said the serpent would crawl on his belly and eat dust. God then turned to Eve. He told her that childbirth would be painful. He said she would desire her husband, but he would rule over her. Finally, God spoke to Adam. He cursed the ground because of Adam's sin. He said that Adam would have to work hard to grow food. He said that Adam would eventually die and return to the dust from which he was made. God then banished Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden. He placed a flaming sword at the entrance to the garden to prevent them from returning. Even though God punished Adam and Eve, he still loved them. He showed them mercy by providing them with clothes made of animal skin. He also gave them a promise. God promised that one day a descendant of Eve would crush the serpent's head. This descendant would be Jesus Christ, who would come to save the world from sin and death. The story of Adam and Eve is a story about choices and consequences. It teaches us that disobedience to God has serious consequences. It also teaches us about God's love, mercy, and plan for our redemption. We can learn from Adam and Eve's mistakes. We can choose to obey God. We can trust in his goodness. We can find hope in the promise of Jesus Christ.